In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the wireless remote for the 500 series monitors from SmallHD and why it's so awesome. And this is something that we spent a lot of time developing because, well, we were developing this, the Sidefinder, and it's this really cool way of using your 500 series monitor in an EVF application and in a monitor application. But in the EVF application, being able to control it became a big issue for us during the design phase. So we came up with the idea of this remote, and it turns out it's a fantastic idea because it allows you to take the full control of your monitor and your Sidefinder and transplant that to a place that is more comfortable for you as a shooter. Example, this rig here, you can take a Velcro tie for cables or a zip tie like this or some sticky back Velcro and find a nice location on your rig to mount it. And right here, I've got a little tie here around the handle. I can just mount this like that. And so now the controls that you have on the monitor are down at your hand. So as a shooter, if I'm filming and I have my Sidefinder mounted somewhere right here or the monitor mounted right here, I don't actually have to reach up and touch it. I can do focusing, I can press up on the joystick, and I can get full control over the display that's right in front of my face without actually having to take my hand away from the stable position and potentially compromise the shot. So that's the primary reason we think this thing is really cool, because it allows you to really just shoot very naturally at this point and get all access to all the tools and all the cool things that are actually found inside the monitor. And another couple cool things about it, we've made the mounting flexibility really extensive. You can actually mount this remote you can mount it upside down and still get the proper orientation of your clicks. Or you can actually reverse the up-down click and separately the left-right if you kind of like to feel more like a swipe like a smartphone versus a push in a certain direction to access your pages or your one-to-one pixel mapping. You can even mount it at 90 degrees if for some reason on your rig that seems like the ideal way to mount the remote for you. So there's lots of flexibility there. The third cool thing is that you can actually pair up to 3 remotes to your monitor and your Sidefinder. So that allows you to, if you have this need for your shoulder rig, you can mount a remote to that and have that permanently affixed if you found a really nice solution for that. And then over on your gimbal rig, you can do the same thing, and over on your tripod handle, you can do the same thing. And you don't have to keep taking the remote off and putting it on other devices, potentially losing it and that sort of thing. And you can just move very quickly from device to device using the remote and really not having to think about it too much. So we think this is a great option. You should definitely put this to use for yourself, and we're interested to see the feedback that we get on it. So I think that kind of covers sort of the philosophy behind this device. And right now we'll just kind of get into how you set it up with your monitor. So when you get the remote, it looks like this. It has a little tab here, which is preventing the battery contacts from actually connecting and powering the remote. So before we pull this out, I want to go into the monitor. We want to go to the settings menu. You can press left on the joystick, or you can press back and then left, and that gives you a little clearer idea of where you are in the menu, but either one will take you to the same place. And down here is the remote section of the menu. And you can see that all 3 slots, as we talked about earlier, they're empty right now because there's no remotes there in the area. So at this point, we can pull this tab out, let the battery connect, and now it says it's found a remote. And so all we need to do is click and bind, and now it's telling me that it's active. So this, now I'm controlling the monitor from the remote, as you can see. And you now can mount the remote where you want to make this a really convenient device for you. So a couple important things to know. You need to make sure that the latest firmware is on your monitor, especially the early adopters. We've iterated the firmware a couple times to make the remote experience as good as possible. So do that on your monitor. The next thing to know is there's firmware on the remote itself, and the monitor actually updates it over the air while you're using it. Now, the remote has some power saving technology. So if you haven't touched the remote for 2 minutes, it goes to sleep. So it takes about 10 minutes to update the firmware on the remote, and basically when you're just using it, it will kind of update itself over time. It never loses track of its progress, so it'll update 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there. Eventually it'll do the full update without you knowing, and it'll just slightly improve the user experience of the remote, very incrementally. So those are some minor notes to know. As you're using the device, you might notice a difference at some point while you're using it, and that's the reason. So I think that pretty much covers it. You can also unpair the remote from the monitor. A nice way to do that is actually stick this back inside the battery terminal, and that causes the monitor not to see it anymore. But it basically allows you to disconnect from this one and pair it to another monitor if you need to. And because I haven't mentioned it specifically yet, I should point out, so we have the joystick, which is right here on your monitor. The back button is right here. This is the capture button, which is actually on the top of the monitor, and on top here of the remote, this is actually a little button that is the same as the power button here, so you can actually put the monitor to sleep and bring it back all from the remote. It's really nice. So the remote doesn't ever power down, it just really sips the battery life and lasts for quite a long time that way. I think that does it for the remote. Thanks for watching.